It's really wonderful to be a part of your community tonight. You know, sometimes the universe creates a surprising, great big door of opportunity and puts it right in front of you with your name on it and says, walk right on through. It's now or never. Well, that happened to me. So in 1995, my wife and I left our comfortable, cozy, urban professional jobs in Minneapolis and moved to an abandoned tobacco farm in very rural Randolph County, North Carolina, to join my sister Jenny to follow a wild back to the land dream and start a goat cheese dairy farm. That's the right reaction. Truth is, we're just old tree huggers from the 60s. Save a farm, save the planet. We couldn't resist. Well, we got there and we had all these jobs to do, a whole big long list of things, all kinds of things. And on the list was being in charge of breeding season. This is a goat farm. Well, my wife, clever lady, she said, okay, breeding season. You're the one who's been the really great marriage and family therapist all these years. You're so good at helping couples get it together. You should be in charge of breeding season. Well, I'm in the South now, right? I'm a farmer, so get her done. Well, I got to looking around and talking around with other goat farmers, and what you know, I found a goat. What we needed, you see, was a buck. We had the mama goats, the does, but we needed a buck, right? Because you need baby goats, kids, in order to have lots of milk to make cheese if you're going to be a goat cheese dairy farm. Well, I found this buck. And his name was Double Bonus. Double bonus, I thought, what great marketing. Double bonus, get more bang for your buck. Well, so he came from a long line of really good goats with the pedigree to create lots of high quality, lots of milk. So we thought this was great, and the price was right. Come to find out, Double Bonus, he was getting on in age, and they weren't quite sure he was man enough for the job, if you know what I mean. So the price was right. I figured out the goat to human years. Come to find out, Double Bonus and I were exactly the same age. Middle-aged, neither one of us young bucks anymore. So I had a soft spot for Double Bonus from the very beginning. So I bought him sight unseen over the phone. I went to his farm. They said he's back there in the barn. I went back to the farthest corner of the room, and he was all back in the back, all sort of hunched up, all alone, forlorn. Well, I could tell he was clinically depressed. I thought, what can I say, Double Bonus, to make you feel better? That wasn't going to work. Well, I thought I've made a horrible mistake. It's my first decision, but what do? A deal's a deal, right? So I put him in the truck. I got the pickup truck with the cab on the back. I'm driving all the way home, all the way. I'm thinking, what will I find when I get to the farm and open the back of that truck? That poor old goat back there, depressed. Well, I got to the back. I opened up the cab of the truck. And you know, when Double Bonus got a whiff of the perfume that the goat ladies were wearing, he just stuck his neck right out the top of that truck, and he said, now, I was new to goat speak, but it just felt to me like he was saying, love is in the air and I'm the man for the job. So I thought, well, okay, we got this job, we got it. But I didn't, how does this goat breeding thing go, right? I didn't know. You may not know. But it wasn't long before I realized that all those beautiful goat ladies and Double Bonus had all the great, gorgeous moves to the beautiful goat dating dance. They knew all the moves. Didn't I have to worry about it? Now, you may not know the moves. Don't be afraid of this, but I'm going to tell you the moves. Okay? First of all, there's a lot of round and round. The buck goes round the doe, and then the doe goes around the buck. A lot of that. And then a little bit of rub-a-dub-dub. A little rub here, a little dub there. And then one flirtatious, a flicking of tail by the doe, one balletic leap, a lunge, and boom, we're making babies. That's it. It's great. I got a long list of does, right? That need to do the dance, and they know how. So I'm just doing my part, which is I just get one lady after another and bring them down to Double Bonus, and then they do the dance, and then I check that one off, and I go again. Well, in the middle of that first session, it hit me. Gosh, I never thought I'd have this job. I mean, I got a doctorate degree, but yeah. But pimping for a goat ain't that bad. So everything's fine. We're working our way through that list until one day they did the dance, round and round. He did the leap, he did the lunge, but instead of dropping off to the side, all satisfied like usual, Double Bonus just fell straight back, kerplop on his back, with all four legs up in the air, his head hanging out, and the eyes are going around like this, like in the cartoons. I looked at him, I thought, I've killed him. Double Bonus has kicked the bucket. Even more, I thought, the buck has bucked himself to death. What do? You call the vet. Vet comes out. He opens up his little black bag of magic. He takes out one hypodermic needle. He gives Double Bonus one shot. And friends, in just a minute, he just jumped right back up, Double Bonus. I said, Doc, it's a miracle. What'd you do? Well, I've seen this before. This is an old goat. Poor nutrition. It's a thiamine deficiency. Shot a B2, B1 will put him right every time. But son, you need to slow down. Well, okay, so we put Double Bonus way in the back corner of the barn, way away from the goat ladies. And we fed him for a couple of weeks and got his nutrition all back up. And we thought, okay, we're going to finish this list. I thought everything was great. We're going to go up to it, do it again. But on the way to the breeding pen, I noticed one little thing. After that big seizure, Double Bonus didn't walk quite straight. He sort of listed to starboard a little bit. So when we did the dance, round and round, the leap, the lunge, he missed the target 4 inches every time. Well, it was then I realized my next new calling. Double Bonus needed me to be his wingman. So I very carefully worked my way up into the choreography. Softly, easily. I knew all the steps. But that doe, she looked back at me. It was like she said, when did this duet become a trio? But he did the dance, he did the leap, he did the lunge. Just at the right moment, I gave him one little bump and put him right back where he needed to be. Okay. So the next spring, surrounded by 30 beautiful bouncing baby goats, all his kids, double bonus, and I celebrated. I rubbed his furry head. I said, "Great job, old man." He said to me, which I knew by then meant couldn't done it with you, pal. Well, so breeding season done. Check. We got all his kids. We got all the milk. We're making cheese. Next big challenge. We got to take the cheese to the farmer's market. Friends, this was 1996. This was at the beginning of the farmer's market revival. This was at a time where if you had said the word to me, local food movement, I would have thought you were referring to a problem with your digestive system. There was no local food movement, right? So will people like goat cheese in Greensboro, North Carolina? I didn't know. I set it all out on the table. I thought, well, here we go. Well, so it wasn't long before I learned there's only two kinds of people in the world. Only two kinds. The first kind of people in the world came first. And it was a lady who later I learned was Michelle. And she came with her almost brand new, just a few months old baby boy in the stroller. And they came up and I said to her, my first customer, "Ma'am, would you like to try my handmade goat cheese? Made it myself, my farm in Randall County." She said, "Sure." So she took a bite, a sample of the cheese. She put it in her mouth. She said, "Oh my gosh, that's the most delicious thing I've ever tasted." And she went out in the aisle, grabbed somebody she didn't even know and said, "Come over here and try this." Oh, I'm feeling great. And these people we call gushers. Now, I know I've got the data. There's 94% of the people in the world are gushers. I have the data. So I'm thinking, this is great. So the next person came up. This guy was a big guy, real nicely dressed. I thought, he's a doctor or a lawyer. He's been to Europe. He'll know all about artisan goat cheese. This will be another gusher. Guy comes up. "Goat cheese?" "Yeah, goat cheese. Randolph County, made it myself. Would you like to try some?" Nah, I don't think so. Doesn't sound very appetizing to me. But I am curious. Do you have to kill the goat to get the cheese out? Now, friends, I have to confess to you, I was tempted to say to that poor misinformed city person who doesn't understand that you make cheese from milk, I was tempted to say to him, "No, sir, we just cut it off and it grows back." I didn't say it. But now that kind of person is called a yucker. So there's gushers and there's yuckers. But at this stage, it's 50-50. I'm thinking, we're never going to make it with, okay, so here comes the next guy. I'm thinking, oh no, this is going to be another yucker. This guy's got on dirty bib overalls. He's got a long pigtail all the way down his back. And up here, he's got a big old chaw of tobacco up here. "Well, howdy, son. You're new to the market, aren't you?" "Yes, sir. It's handmade goat cheese. My farm, Randolph County. Would you like to try some?" "Oh, I don't know. That don't look like any cheese I've ever had." "Well, my cheese always comes between two pieces of plastic, or you spray it out of a cheese whiz can. And you need to know, I'm pretty particular about what I put in my mouth. But I'll give her a try." So he went, fortunately, and spit the big old chaw out. He comes out over, and I spread on my cracker the basil and garlic spreadable goat cheese that is a family favorite we had. I thought, I'll give it a try. So I give it to him, puts it in his mouth, chews it, and swallows it. Without making a sound, he reaches over and takes the spreader out of my hand, dips down in, gets a 3-inch layer of basil and garlic goat cheese, spreads it on the biggest cracker in the thing, stuff it in his mouth, and says, "Real good." Well, those people are the third kind. And that's the person who is a yucker that you convert into a gusher. So fast forward 5 years later. I'm at the market early in the morning, and I'm just kind of reflecting. Wow, it's been quite a journey. There's been great times, such a joy to live on the land, such a joy to be a part of a herd, such a joy to work together hard and see things happen. But it's been hard. We run out of money. You do the wrong thing. The goats die. Was it worth it to walk through that door? Have we made any difference? I didn't know that morning. Well, here down the aisle comes Michelle and the little boy, little Tom, who's now almost 6 years old. And Michelle comes down like she did every Saturday morning, and she stops to talk to the farmer right here beside me. But little Tom comes over and starts doing what he did every Saturday morning, tasting his way through all the samples to see what kind he was going to tell his mama that he wanted that week. Well, little Tom realizes that it's just him and me at the table. A little shy, Tom is. And he looks up at me with these big blue eyes, and he says, "Thank you, Farmer Steve, for making me such wonderful cheese." 10 little words changed me forever. Because, friends, at that moment, I realized little Tom had grown up in a world where he thought everybody had their own farmer and everybody knew their cheesemaker. And we had helped create that world. He'd been to the farm. He even knew how I made the cheese. He knew the names of the goats. It was as if the universe said to me, "Yeah, you've had a lot of hard times, a lot of good times, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But the universe, through one little boy, said to me, this is why you walked through the door. This is how you've made a difference." That made it all worthwhile.